thank you so much for jumping on to this very short and sweet 20-minute yin yoga practice. In essence, trying to release some tension into our lower back and our hips. It's such an area where we can hold so much tension. We'll also be doing an upper trap and shoulder release as well. But both of these areas can get really, really locked up in the world we live in today. This is a super basic practice. You won't need really much at all. I do have a bolster behind me somewhere, but you might want to grab a cushion as well. If you like this video and you enjoy it, I'd really appreciate it if you can give it a like and then also subscribe. It's free to subscribe and you'll get download every time I run a new episode. If you're not following me on Instagram, jump onto my books page, which is watch_ya_language, to find out more updates on my book that I've been writing that is nearly finished and due to be finished in about 2 more weeks. So I'm really looking forward to bringing this not just to individuals, but also to schools in and around Australia. We're going to start this yin yoga practice in a breathing space for now. So I just invite you to find somewhere where you're comfortable. I'm actually going to sit on top of the bolster. It's nice to elevate our hips. You'll find you'll have a lot more space into the spine and you'll be able to sit up nice and tall, but you find somewhere that works for you. So I just invite you to really take this time to devote this next 20 minutes to yourself as an act of self-care, as an act of nurturing and an act of compassion. So gently close down your eyes and take a beautiful deep breath in with how you'd like to feel when you finish this practice. And on your breath out, let go of something that doesn't serve you. So an email, a text message, a conversation, whatever that you may be holding on to that is completely irrelevant, let it go. Breathe in the words, I feel, and then attach whatever feeling you'd like to feel after those words. Breathe out the words, I choose to let go of, and let something go. Inhale the words, I feel. And exhale the words, I choose to let go of. We're going to spend a couple of minutes here. I invite you now to focus your breath on breathing from your belly button. You'll feel the expansion of your belly move and expand outwards. You'll notice the rib cage start to rise. Feel the space between your lungs as the breath then moves up to your heart space and the base of the neck. Keep the shoulders relaxed as you exhale and start to feel everything go. A softening, a letting go, and the offering to yourself to surrender. Taking the time to expand your breath in to about 5 or 6 counts with a slight pause at the top. And as you breathe out again, working towards 5 or 6 counts with a pause at the bottom. Take 3 more rounds. Take 1 more final round, fully in. Pause. And an open mouth exhale, let your day go. From here, we're gently going to come off the bolster. We're going to start our practice in a Sphinx pose this afternoon or morning, wherever you're doing this. This is a really nice practice to actually do before bed. So in our Sphinx pose, the toes are going to be untucked And if your back is really, really tight, make sure you have space between your feet, right? There's a gentle press of the pubic bone down. And again, if the back is super tight, you're going to rest your forehead on top of your fists like this. And for those of you who are feeling a little bit more space into that lower lumbar spine, you can bend your elbows, place elbow underneath the shoulder joint, placing the forearms down onto the ground like railroad tracks, and then coming up into Sphinx pose. So compression through the lumbar spine. For anyone who wants a little bit more, has a little bit more mobility and movement through that lumbar, you can slide a bolster underneath your chest, one of my favorite shapes, coming up into baby seal pose. So we're looking to find compression in the lower spine. Right, in the world we live in today, we sit in chairs so much, we're teaching our hips to be a hinge joint when it's really a ball and socket, and we're also putting our feet into shoes, really limiting the space and the usage that our feet are designed for. Therefore, we end up with so many issues in our knees, our hips, and our lower back because we're inhibiting the movement that our bodies are capable of doing. We're moving in such linear patterns and so repetitive that our bodies aren't actually able to function three-dimensionally like they should. So it's normal to feel a bit of compression in that low spine, but not pain. If there's any instance of pain, then come back down to one of the other variations. So coming to that place now, especially in Yin, that is our edge, so about 60%. A place where I feel, and sometimes it may be uncomfortable, but definitely not painful. Start to close down your eyes as we breathe into this shape. It might be nice to bring in a gentle affirmation with each shape through this practice. I'll share an affirmation, it's up to you if you'd like to take it on board and repeat it as you're in the shape. Starting off with a gratitude affirmation for our bodies. I'm grateful for the skin that I'm in without the need for more. I'm grateful for the skin that I'm in without the need for more. We have one more minute here. Take a full breath in and a full breath out. Mindfully sliding the bolster out if you had one. Just bring yourself down to the ground for a couple of moments.
You'll notice what's called fragility in Yin. It might feel tender, or you might feel sensation through the lower back. That's perfect. When we work into these areas, we start to generate nutrient-rich blood and hyaluronic acid through the area. As we compress through the connected tissue and fascia, we start to get this activation into the area, so it's normal to feel a sense of looseness and that fragility through the lower spine. In your own time, and really slowly start to press yourself up. And we're just going to move through a couple of spinal articulations here. So just starting to move in any direction, just creating a little bit of flow, or chi as they call it in Yin, to just move any stuck or stagnant energy. Especially as this practice is for our spine and our hips, it's really nice to add this into the practice, to tune in to how your body is feeling today. We're going to take this straight into a lunge. Again, if you have a pillow or a block or any form of prop, grab it. It will help you with this shape. Sorry, it is getting quite warm in here and now we're tangled up. The joys of, luckily that I can edit this out, maybe. So as we step this into this shape, we're stepping the right foot forward. As you'll see, my right ankle is underneath my right knee. Now this may be enough for some people. You can also hold on to the bolster here. If your left hip flexor and psoas is really, really tight, then please prop up to support yourself. For those of us that are a little bit more bendy, then again, we're not forcing ourselves down here. You're definitely going to feel this into the psoas and the hip flexor on the left, and you're going to get quite a decent stretch into the hamstring and also the groins into the right. So we're going to be here for about 3 minutes or so, starting to fold yourself down. If you have the bolster, fantastic. Feel free to double it over if it does, and use that as support. But just make sure you're not forcing yourself down into this shape. So I'm not pulling myself down. We're just going to let gravity take over here. So if you need to support that back knee, then please feel free to do that. And then just start to soften yourself down into this dragon lunge. An affirmation: I get curious, not critical, about the things that show up in my body. I get curious, not critical, about the things that show up in my body. For some of you that practice Yin regularly, you might start to roll onto the blade edge of that right foot, but try to be as still as possible. If you have rolled onto the blade edge of the right foot, your right knee is also starting to track out to the side. Again, don't force where you are, just let your body melt. Breathe. It's only a short little sequence tonight, but enough to get into that connected tissue and fascia that lie underneath the muscles that hold so much tension. Tension only creates more tension. And if we are constantly busy all the time and striving and pushing and constantly under the pump, that is a choice. And our body is going to keep the score. We're going to hold tension in our shoulders and our hips. We're going to have tight lower backs. We're not going to be able to move very well because there's so much stress underlying. They say that the issues are in the tissues. So Yin helps us release the connected tissue and fascia lie underneath the muscles. When we start to give permission for these guys to relax, our whole state of mind also starts to relax. Take a breath in and a breath out. Engage the belly. Slowly press yourself up. Wriggle your right foot out to the right. And then finding a wide knees child's pose. Sinking your hips back over your heels and pause. I invite you to take 3 deep breaths here. Again, breathe in how you want to feel when you finish this practice and exhale, let something go. Slowly, let's start to bring that stretch to the other side. As I said, this is quite a minimal, short practice. Yeah, it might be 25 minutes long just by looking at the video in that state. So again, we all have 25 minutes. Every single one of us do. You know, the average that we're on our phones these days can be anywhere between 3 and 5 hours. So again, they say that if you sit in a chair, for every hour you sit, we should come into 1 minute of a lunge. So our bodies and our health is completely up to us, and it's a choice. What we practice grows stronger, and you are so deserving of the best and most optimum health that we can all have. For when we fill our cup and we put ourselves first, we then have more than enough energy to help others and give permission for others to do the same. So coming into this side, again, the option to repeat an affirmation for yourself. I choose to surrender the outcome and accept myself as I am. I choose to surrender the outcome and accept myself as I am. Just under 3 minutes here. Maybe you find a bit more space, maybe you don't, it doesn't matter, don't force it. But never ever pain. Back it off if it is sharp or hot. It is about listening to your body. Just allowing yourself to be. Take 5 more breaths here, everyone. Now fully in. And fully out, stay. Engage through the belly very, 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 very slowly. Whew. Walk the left foot out to the left. It creates an opening into the hips. Bringing that knee down. And we're going to find our belly. So we're going to do our spine and our shoulders at the same time. And this is a beautiful opening into the chest. Just pause here for a moment. Notice how you feel. Maybe you've noticed a shift not only in the body but also in the mind. So we're going to come into one of my favourite shapes, into broken wing. This is a really, really nice twist from the upper spine, but it also opens the front of the pec minor and also the upper back and the shoulders as well, whilst also getting into our hips. So I'm going to extend my right arm out to the right, so as if I was on this side, my hand and my shoulder are in alignment. For some people, so it doesn't look like that in the video, if I show you here it does. For some people they like to bend their elbow. For me that doesn't work. I much prefer to have a straight arm. So I've done that, my right arm is out to the side. I'm coming onto my left fingertips. And I leave my head heavy as my left leg comes up and over. And the toe touches down to the floor, a bolster, a cushion, or you can bend that bottom leg and place the foot on the ankle joint, your choice. So we're getting a nice hip opener here into the top leg, which is my left. The right side of my chest, specifically my pec minor, and the front of the delt is getting a delicious stretch here, whilst my scapula is literally just squeezing together. So there's no effort in my upper back, it's super relaxed. And this hand can either stay here or come up and over into half a bind. We're just going to stay here for about a minute and a half each side. Again, if this is too much for you, roll back onto the chest a little bit. If your shoulders are really, really tight, or just bend the knees and come here, no worries at all. Please find what works for you. But a beautiful one in the world we live in today. As I said, our shoulders, they hold so much tension and we find our traps lock on so easily, and we close off our hearts when we're stressed, anxious, in worry, fear or doubt. So I invite you to remain open, to notice how this feels, and shut down your eyes. And I'm going to share an affirmation from one of the girls in my 6-week immersion group for Watch Your Language. She said this the other day and I loved it. I soften my body, I soften my heart, and I soften my mind. I soften my body, I soften my heart, I soften my mind. Just 5 more breaths. Breathe in, breathe out. Very slowly unravel, come back slowly. Find your way to a thrown position, the other arm goes out, turn the head, and then slowly letting that top leg come up and over. And then let yourself just melt. I want you now to focus on breathing in how you want to feel when you finish this yin practice, and breathing out. Let something go. Five more breaths.
Big final breath in. And a breath out, unravel. Take your time to again come back down to this prone position, rest your head. And in your own time, flopping yourself over into your back. Just invite you to bring your knees up. We're just going to find a little happy baby here. We're going to rock it and move it around a bit. So you can stay here holding onto your knees. Some of you might like to bring your forearms on the inside of your shins and catch your ankles. Or if the mobility is there, flex the feet and catch the underside of the feet, but keep your tailbone down into the ground. I invite you just to rock this side to side. Let this feel good. If we continue to focus on the things that we don't have, on why our bodies don't look like the way that they should, or when I lose 10 kilos, I'll be happy when, or when I have this, it'll solve all my problems. We're constantly coming from a place of lack. So I want you to come into a feeling of how you want it to look like. A feeling of what you see your life in abundance, love, compassion, and confidence. And then shut down your eyes. Extend your legs out long. Please slide a bolster or a cushion under your knees if you need. Your palms are open. Roll your shoulders away from your ears. Let your feet flop out. And let that feeling of acceptance, gratitude for having this moment and a body to practice in, and compassion to all of those around you, including yourself. Notice how that feels in your heart. Notice how that feels in your body. And notice how that feels in your mind. Breathe in. And breathe out. Let it go. I truly invite you to stay in this shape a little longer if you can. Release the need to rush into something else. Take your time through your day. Pause to create space. Let go of the need to strive and get it done. Put yourself first. Start to move your toes and your fingers, just creating any movement that feels good. Again, stay if you can stay. We're constantly rushing to the next thing. 10 years down the track, we'll ask ourselves the question, where did it go? When you feel ready, roll to your side. Take a moment to really thank the skin you're in. Judging, comparison, competitiveness, and being better than does not get any single one of us anywhere. Acceptance, authenticity, and compassion is the only way forward. Gently come up to seated. Place your hands on your heart. Take a moment to honor this space of you, your authentic self, to let go of the people-pleasing, to let go of the perfection, to embrace yourself exactly as you are without the need for more. Bring your thumbs gently towards your mouth as you pay attention to the words you speak, for they become the house you live in. And the thumbs to the third eye as you honor this time and space you have taken for your own self-care. From my heart to yours. Namaste. Thanks again, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that little practice. Remember, as always, watching our language is the most important thing we can do, not just for ourselves, but those who are around us. We are always a teacher, and when we come from a place of compassion and kindness, we give permission for others to do the same. So please don't forget to comment, like, share. I'd really appreciate it, and let me know, how did you find that practice? Have an amazing afternoon.